Winterberg in Germany, the final weekend of action in the BMW FIBT World Championships. We get to the bobsledding's blue ribbon event, the four-man competition. First of four heats about to get underway here in beautiful Saturday sunshine. Watching trackside with you, Martin Haven and John Morgan. And John, this is going to be a very difficult race to win because of the nature of this track.
Well, the track is short and the conditions and the weather here really affect it, and it's warm, and it's going to get warmer in the next 24 hours. And there's going to be a lot of strategy with runners overnight, especially. The crowd on hand, there's a strategy for them, though, and it's a lot of Veltons and other Kluvine and the bratwurst stands. I mean, huge crowds on hand. I bet you there's 10,000 people in this venue today. And the track, again, built in 1977, the refrigerated track. They've been sliding on this same little canyon since 1910, almost in the exact same spot the track is today. It's a short track, only 1,330 meters, 14 curves. And the start, it's so crucial. In and down the start record. Oh, that guy Mel Bardis, he owns them all from Latvia. This little curve coming up, zero. They put this in about 8 years ago because it was just a long straightaway all the way down to curve one. That's why we call it curve zero. No mistakes allowed up here. Nothing, no steering. This Omega curve, you just got to let the sled go around and hope it goes straight. Uphill section, curves 3 and 4. No mistakes allowed up here. You have no chance if you tap here out of curve, out of 4 right there into 5. Now the sled starts to motor and gets near 50, 60 miles an hour into the Kreisel curve, and you have to be perfect here. Use those lines, straddle the lines, be consistent. Exit with a slingshot effect. 8, 9, here's the pivotal part of the track. This is tricky. A lot of accidents here last year, only a few this week. 10, big pressure. Almost 4 G's of force. Now a 3-corner labyrinth combination here. Into the finish, you go uphill. You could still lose time in the exit of the finish here. Short, easy to get down, Martin, and boy, the best driver start will win the competition.
Well, that's right, and it's very hard to make an advantage over somebody. It's very easy to give time away here, and that consistency is going to be key to this four-man competition. And we've got history in the making as well. For the first time ever since the formation of the FIBT in the men's four-man bobsleigh competition, we will have a female driver in the form of Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries. So history being made at every turn. And this track, well, the records have been standing for the last 4 seasons. In fact, the track record since 2008. But we have seen track records broken all fortnight in every discipline, in every race. There's Max Arndt, your world champion, won it in 2013 back in St. Moritz. Rico Pater, another one of only 5 of the top 10 drivers from that Worlds that are still competing. That's how much the Olympic cycle has caused drop-off. So the bronze medalist, Stephen Holcomb, returns, but the silver medalist in that race, Alexander Zubkov, has since retired.
Mel Bardis.
Big field, we've got 28 sleds. That means that all 3 heats, the first 3 heats, anybody who safely completes the run will get to go. And then it's only for the final, the 4th heat, that the field is cut to the top 20. So first day of action for everybody and lots of sleds to see. And look at this. I mean, this is what you see when you're coming down the track. It's just wall-to-wall humanity. Max Arndt, the reigning world champion, has chosen to go off number 1. Alexander Kazyanov, rather, of Russia. Slip of the tongue goes 2. And Oscar's Mel Bardis, the World Cup champion. He had first call. He decided to choose number 3. And Stephen Holcomb,
he took 11. He could have taken 7 or 1. He took 11.
Gasps of surprise, but he figures the track will be swept after every 5 sleds, and so that should help him if the weather turns. Now, today the weather should be very good and clear for all our 28 sleds. Four-man World Championships getting underway here in Winterberg in Germany. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching action as Max Arndt and his crew, Alexander Rödinger, Kevin Corona and Ben Heber, the 2 new boys on the sled. This is the start of Arndt's title defense.
Rödinger was on the sled with Andre Lange when they broke the track record in 2008.
Yeah, he has got dozens of medals in his closet, and he was on that winning sled with Andre Lange 6 years ago.
98, I don't think they're going to get near that. 5:08. That's about right. That tells me the start record's got a chance to be broken by that guy Mel Bardis himself. And the British, Lamont Dean and his team have got a smacking fast team at the start. This is our rabbit. And there was questions why he took #1. He could have taken 3rd or 4th, and he took #1, which Mel Bardis declined. Kasanoff declined, and he took it. So,
well, with the way that the two-man race worked in the snow last weekend, maybe they were just running a little bit nervous of taking the #1 draw, but this weekend is going to be warm and sunny.
If the Germans, look at that, 104.
Wow.
If the Germans took #1, they know the track. They know what's going on there. So, ooh, is he late there at 11:12? Wow, that tells me a lot. Let's see how fast he is here at the bottom.
86
wow, track
miles
record
an hour.
right off the bat. So all 5 disciplines have all broken the track record of the first team. And I'll tell you something, if that's a track record and he had that much problems between 11 and 12, I just think that these four-man sleds might be too fast for the bottom part of this track.
That is 7/10 of a second faster than the old track record, and he's only the first sled. Now that's 9 to 10. That is a big transition.
Wow.
We talked about it in the two-man race, John. The two-man gets down much more easily. The four-man, look at the angle of lean in these corners.
Boy, when you make a four-man sled go up in the air like that, it's a challenge for these guys. But, you know, Max Arndt, I'll tell you, he might have known something a little bit more than anybody else to draw #1 like that.
On his face. So, the place is already bristling with excitement. One sled, one track record, 7/10 faster than the track record that stood now for 7 years. Second up is Alexander Kasyanov. Last World Championships in St. Moritz 2013, 10th place. He was second in the World Cup rankings. That's how much he has improved.
This should be low 5s, 5:04 maybe. This Russian start team's got better every single trip. Ooh, and a little skid there though, 5:11. Very surprised at that. A little skid, and watch the speed, 63.8.
Alexander Diallo back on the sled after breaking his leg early season. This is his first race.
Surprised at that start. I really thought he'd be better than Max Arndt, or maybe Max Arndt's team brought something to the table. Remember, they were not around all last week. He's only doing the four-man, so he didn't have to worry about last week. Maybe those guys were in some gym training.
97.9. He's already got the same speed as Arndt, and the gap has come down. Now it's gone out again. 104.8 for Arndt, 104.2 for Kasyanov.
A lot of shades up. It's really right down here.
Crashes down there.
137.9.
If the best are already rocking off 9 into 10. Wow. 54.03. That's half a second inside the old track record. Half a second. This record stood for 7 years, and people have got within a few hundreds of it. That's insane.
Well, on the bottom, 7/10 kilometer better was Max Arndt, and his back end of his sled barely got through that 11, 12, 13 combination. I'm surprised that they didn't get a better start time here. Really, these are 3 really good sprinters. Pierre Lutters, the Canadian coach, or the Russian coach, has been really working with them on their technique, getting it down. But watch the sled come to the right a little bit. Yeah, right there. That little look at that little back end of the. Something happened there. Look at Kazanov's eyes looking over to the left. Look at him like, uh-oh.
Yeah, watching that wall coming closer. Don't look at it. That's how the sled follows the eyes. Third of our starters is our World Cup champion, Oskars Melbardis of Latvia. 5 wins in the 8 races. The last 4 straight he won. Crushed everybody in 2-man and 4-man all year. 9th at the last Worlds 2013. That's how much he's come on in 2 seasons.
4:98, the start record. They should get at least close to it. 4 very large men. 5 flat, just 200s up. Speed, 64.2.
Quicker than we saw from Max Arndt.
Well, you would expect it to be quicker. He's 800s better. 1000s, he should reach this out to 1500s to the next clock. If not, Max Arnold will get him at the bottom.
The effect of the warmer air temperature is going to have two effects. First of all, the start ice will be softer, and secondly, this ice will be a little sheen on it down the track. The resistance will be less. It'll melt a little quicker under the runners and should make it even faster.
This is going right to the 100. Arndt was really, really quick down here. Melbardis is just as quick. And if he gets through these three quarters, we're going to have another track record. He was late, just like Arndt. Another track record.
Not inside. Oh, it is! Goodness me, he just managed to hold on.
He just held on with a superior start time. 800's better to start, only 3 at the bottom. Max Arndt went first. Boy, we have game on. And this Winterberg track it's so close. The times are going to be so close. There's no room for a hundredth of a second error on any heat, because it's going to come down to hundredths at the bottom. This is like Max Arndt. Look at the back end of the sled. Airborne. I'm telling you, these sleds are almost too fast for this three-corner combination built in 1977.
That transition is so fast.
And they were saying the conditions of the track were so good that they were saying this last week that they might be too good of conditions for these four-man sleds and the athletes that push them.
They're the best in the world. They want the best ice. And this man is the best in the two-man world. Double world champion now, Francesco Frugic. Backed up his 2013 win with victory last Sunday in the two-man competition here. Still just 24 years old. 5:03. That is a great getaway.
Skid there, though. Speed, 64.1, 3/10, or 1/10 down to Melbardis, which wasn't bad, but I think he had some problems on the exit of curve 0.
Long skid will rob him of probably 1500s by the end of the run.
If he gets within 10, that's not good there either. He gets sucked up into curve 4. Ooh, late there. +8 now. 97.6 is decent speed, but boy, he's got to have the perfect line down here. And he certainly had the perfect lines in the two-man competition. He is the track record holder in two-man.
104.2, a little slower than Max Arndt.
Late, really late.
Trying to get their sighting in the ice, very different from how it was in training.
He's third. He broke the track record again by 6/10.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. Look at Long. That's the leaderboard is exactly like I thought it would be. I thought though the Friedrich could be in first, Melbardis second, Arndt third.
Top 3 covered by 1800ths of a second.
It's beautiful for a bobsled race. It's good. I don't think anybody's going to get away from the field.
Nope.
Like we saw in the skeleton.
Are going to make sure of that.
Like we saw in the skeleton race. Late. Watch these sleds. You talk about the suspension on the sleds being maxed out. The four-mans, he's trying to get off the curve and get over, but the back end of the four-man won't allow him. Watch the air here. That's not bad there, though. Here, a little bit. Everybody's going to have some air time down here.
Well, down there, the back is still on one corner, while the front is trying to climb another one in the opposite direction. Next up, the young sensation of the four-man season. First World Championships for Nico Walter, just 24 years old, from the Altenburg track, where he claimed his first four-man win in only his second World Cup start. Andy Bredar, Marco Hubenbecker, the 6'7" giant, and Christian Poser on the back of the sled. Christian's wife, Jamie Grubel-Poser, is back in town with her brake woman, Lauren Gibbs, and they are at the top of the track to cheer on the hubby and the US team.
Well, start time, 3 really big men. In fact, Nico Walter's not. He's a pretty big guy himself. 5:09. Yeah, I like his teammate. The speed, 63.9, 64.1. Good, very good velocity entering the sled by these 6'6", 6'5", 6'3", and a 6'2" driver. Big men. Former luge athlete. Been down this track hundreds of times. Those are good lines on a 4. He keeps this at 1500s here. Oh, +6. He's coming on.
He could lead at the bottom of the track. 98.2 kilometers an hour. Fastest speed for Nico Walter.
A little tap there. Down to 2. He's coming.
Fastest again. 1:04.9. Quicker even than Max Arndt.
Wow, this is a statement
This is the boy from Altenburg, from Freital, 200 of a second off the lead, 137.8.
Right
just
to the
a
100.
fraction slower. He'll lose a couple more hundreds. 300 of a second off the lead in one run.
The personality of the Winterberg track is about hundreds of seconds that separate the top three. Well, we have a tie for second between two Germans. They're 300s behind us, so the top three sleds are separated by 300s. Every hundredth of a second counts. These are the four tallest guys in the competition on one team. Now watch the athleticism of these guys getting in, get down. Now watch when they get in, watch their arms come up like in synchronization, perfect. Look at that. Great velocity they had with a deficient start time.
Well,
I like those cameras, huh?
100th of a second slower than Max Arndt in the start. No hundredths slower. He's happy with that.
He's very disappointed in his two-man result.
Yeah. He is a great four-man driver. Oskars Melbardis leads a really tight race already. Wow, this could be a very nerve-biting, nerve-jangling 2 days. Rico Peter for Switzerland, 31-year-old, third in Altenburg, Germany, his best result of the season in the four-man race. He was sixth in the World Championships in St. Moritz 2 years ago.
Crashed in Sochi in the four-man competition a couple weeks ago after he'd won the two-man competition and all the big bucks that they race for out there. If he gets away here in a 5:04, 5:05 start, watch out. He has been really impressive in practice. Again, key for him, getting into a mid 5:04, 5:05, get that good 64.2 speed, 5:08. I'll see the speed if he gets 64 kilometer speed. 63.9, so he didn't get the numbers that he needed to challenge here, and I think his time in the next clock's probably going to be like 10, 13, yeah.
Well, don't forget, he's got a Wolfgang Stampfer-built sled, so he might find extra speed in the last few corners.
Like that.
No,
not
wide
like that.
in four isn't helping.
Yeah.
Skid over the brow there and run up the wall.
Bad there, so this is just driving here. Stampfer, we used to have him in our speed merchant club. He always found speed on the bottom of every track he was on, and he built his own equipment.
104.1, that's actually the lowest speed we've seen so far.
He made all his mistakes up top. He's not going to match these other sled. Boy, was he late there, though. 2100s. In Skeleton, we saw disparities of 60, 70 hundredths between the leaders. Here, top five sleds. That 2100s is all on top.
Speed at the bottom, 138.2. That's the third fastest speed through that bottom trap. He's in fifth place, just 21 hundredths off the leader.
Yeah, he made the errors there. The start time wasn't what he needed, but he made the errors in the entrance to Kreisel. This is the entrance to Kreisel. You just can't do this up here for him. Dealing with hundreds of seconds and you're hitting the sidewall like that. Curve 4 to 5, he wasn't very good. Down below, look at the back end of these sleds. I don't think we're going to see anybody come off there on all four runners.
Chance.
No
chance. Coming down there smooth.
It's 83
it's just
miles
too
an
fast
hour.
and too tight. Yeah. You've got to ride the curbs. Well, Rico Peter lies in fifth position after our first six sleds. Next up is 27-year-old Latvian Oskars Kibamanis. His decathlete was brought in to start driving 3 seasons ago. 16th place in the world in St. Moritz. Best result in the four-man World Cup. 4th position, just out of the medals in Altenburg. Now that is a real heavy steering track, and this is just the opposite.
Okay, some other fantastic athletes from that little country. Latvia, they make a mistake. The brakeman ran too far. Now watch the speed, 63.5 probably, 63.6. That was a major mistake. I think the brakeman ran like 2 steps too far, and when he got in, the sled wavered, and now he's sentenced to 30 hundredths down at the bottom at least.
A little better run through corner 4. Let's see what he can find further down the track. These BTC Latvia sleds, again, are the fastest things in a straight line, it would seem, this season. 27.2 kilometers an hour, little off the pace.
This is the young decathlete. He's only like 23 years old. Skid there out of 9. And this is a future project. Boy, you better get on. He's struggling to come through those curves.
So be a few rocky rides down this track.
There's going to be somebody that's going to have some issues down there.
Yeah.
Every sled's going to have an issue, but somebody's not going to make it through the curves.
7th place, he is still 0.2 of a second inside the old track record. That's almost like breaking a 100-meter sprint record by 0.2 of a second.
Everybody's been down the track at a PB, personal best. You don't practice for record speeds. Everybody's been down faster than they've ever been before. Well, up here, watch. Okay, the driver's in good.
Well, no,
side guys.
Wriggled in, he caught his foot or something.
The guy's brake, but still running 2 more steps, and then he gets in. That cause, look at the back end. You can see it going to the right here.
They're already out of the drive lines.
Yeah, and the sled is not, look, now he's got a hold of it. Now he's trying to steer it a little bit longer. And now he goes over to the left side of the screen. He should be over the right side of the screen.
Oskar Kibermanis of Latvia, 7th place out of the first 7 sleds of 28. And now a chance for some redemption for Justin Cripps. Chose start draw number 1 in the 2-man race and had a horrible, horrible race as a result. The Hawaiian-born Canadian, 4th this year in Lake Placid and Sochi, but this is his first World Championships as a driver.
Good cohesion. 63.8, 63.9, 63.8. Yeah, with that start.
Sled wriggling around under the athletes as they load. There's so much meat hitting that sled in one hit.
Now this will get out to 24, 2500s at the next clock, and then maybe you can stop the bleeding. 23, not bad. Wasn't great on the exit 7 to 8 into Kreisel.
Speed better than the last couple of sleds.
These are good lines here. 2800s, he's holding on. 103.9's pretty good. Let's see here, the back end of the sled here on the exit of 910. Good. Better. One of the best lines we've seen. Speed, though.
There's the speed as a result, 137.6. Will he move in front of Kibermanis? He does. 54.14. And that leaves him 3400s off the lead. 700s behind Kazyanov in 6th place.
Yeah, good lines there. But, the start speed, you have to have that 64-kilometer speed at the start to challenge up where the track's slow. This is down 10, 11, 12, 13. He was good. Watch the back end here. Everybody else has been totally airborne. He was least amount of air of any 4-man we've seen go down. Maybe that's too much steering.
Well, that's how you keep the speed for the bottom corners and uphill to the finish line. Russia's Nikita Zaharov, 27-year-old from Dimitrov. Best in the world for him has been an 11th place finish. Best in the World Cup racing this year, 4th place in Calgary. Now, Calgary is a similar track where you need a huge start. You need to do the minimum work on the driver's D-rings. Let's see if that skill can come into bearing here.
It's all about the start.
Scratch marks on the sled at the top from the spikes where they step up in, and he doesn't get a bad start. 5.16 is going to leave him in a hole that he's going to have to try and conjure some speed from.
A decent 63.5 velocity speed considering the worst start we've seen so far. They're holding on, so if he keeps it to 35 before Kreisel, he'll have a chance to maybe finish in the top 6 or 7.
At the moment, his teammate Alexander Kazyanov is in 6th position. 97.4. It's already 60 miles an hour and accelerating hard through the Kreisel up to 65 miles an hour now. Down at the bottom, 137, 138 kilometers an hour.
It's considerably back. 137.4.
85.5 miles an hour.
Now the question is the track giving up all its speed? There's one guy coming up. His name's Holcomb, 2 sleds. He's been flying down the track on the bottom. He gives up a lot of time at the start, but now we'll just question the track. Is it going to give up any more time?
The more the sun comes on it, the more the day warms up, the greater the risk of it being soft.
Into Kreisel here. Look at that, sideways at a 4-man. Well, that's not the track there. That's some human error there.
Definitely not the track. And that's one of the great things about replays in TV is it actually shows you stuff that the naked eye doesn't quite get. But a lot of sun on down there at the Kreisel.
We've had a great season no matter what.
Lots of Russian support here. Lots of support for the Canadians as well. Canadian men and women have had a standout World Championships in skeleton. The two-man bobsleigh didn't go well for Canada. Let's see what happens here. Chris Spring, 30-year-old, best of 14th in the World Championships. He was 17th in St. Moritz 2 years ago.
And the only cricket player in the front seat of the bobsled takes off.
He was speaking a couple of nights ago as Bobsleigh Skeleton Canada announced their intention to pitch for the World Championships for Whistler, the next free date.
Told us we didn't realize he's half Filipino.
Yeah.
His father was vacationing in the Philippines, met his mother.
Formerly slid for Australia, born in Darwin in the Northern Territories, and in fact, you see a sunrise badge on his overalls. That's the badge of the native Australians.
Doing great. His start time was impressive. Only 18 back.
Third at the start. He's in 5th position at the moment on
This is pretty good.
This is the sort of run that Chris Spring has been looking for all year long. His best results in the year have been 4 10th places. That's a really good run from Chris Spring. There's some salvation at the end of what's been a very long season.
Starts where I was impressed with.
Well, these guys, Derek Pluggs, a veteran of the team, Lascelles Brown on the back, and joined this year by Alex Kopax. Look at Lascelles.
How quick they get in here.
Well, Lascelles Brown knows his body so well. He gets maximum speed, and in he gets. The other guys dropping in front.
Choreography on ice. Watch the arms come up here. Waiting for the number 2 guy to get down. Number 2 guy was still getting down late. Maybe that's why they didn't have 64-kilometer speed. And now the crossover between the 13, 14, and the speed. Of course, they're all coming down. Personal best, fastest they've ever been on the track. You don't practice for record speeds.
The run was pretty good, except...
Top 10 led by Oskars Melbardis by the tiniest margin over Max Arndt and Nico Walter. 11th of our starters is two-time world champion and Olympic 4-man champion Stephen Holcomb, with Justin Olsen, Carlo Valdez, Sam Mitchener late into the evening in helmets and undershorts. These guys were practicing their load last night. Let's see how that happens for them here.
Yeah, they needed to get within 10 hundredths of the start. Wave there, not good. 63.5, not very good velocity either. They said they had to get within 10 hundredths of the start to have a chance, and they didn't do that. Holcomb has been magical down the track with his night train sled. His speeds has caught everybody's attention. See if he can do it here, what he's done in practice. He's way off the pace there, and he just tapped before the Kreisel. Stop the bleeding.
Tough season for Holcomb. Struggling to find the speed at the start, and struggling to find it all the way down.
138.4 is good speed.
138.4 is good. He had the highest speed ever recorded on this track in training, up to 139 kilometers an hour.
Well, he had the 10th best start, and he's in the 9th position. And I think he made a little mistake out of curve 0. So I wouldn't give Steve Holcomb 5 stars on that drive. And he needs 5 stars when you have the 10th best start. But curve 3 to 4, 4 to 5 here. Can't do that. Got to be cleaner than that. But, you know, watch the back end here in the Kreisel. He taps here in the right wall, too.
Ice coming easily off the walls now as the day warms up. There is the night train 2. And here is the original night train at the top of the track for 29-year-old Californian Nick Cunningham. Adam Clark, Alex Harrison, and James Reed, the crew. Reed from Garmisch-Partenkirchen, another German Olympic track in Bavaria.
Pretty strange. These night train sleds have never crashed before. Last year here in the World Cup, they both crashed 24 hours apart on this track.
That's it, ready? Here we go. Go, big start now. Come on. Come on, boys. Let's do it. Set. Back set. Ready?
You asked the difference between the two sleds. Well, first of all, they got to get a start time in the teens here. 5:12, not great, but boy, tapping that wall didn't help. 63.7, 0.2 of a kilometer better than their teammates. But this sled's all fiberglass, carbon, and the new one's carbon fiber. Two different worlds.
That means that the new one is lighter, so you put the ballast in where you want it to suit the chassis and change the handling, perhaps. This one, a lot of weight up high in that carbon, in that glass fiber rather than carbon fiber. Cunningham 10th place off a 10th fastest start. His best World Championship result was in Lake Placid 3 years ago. He was in 13th spot.
Had a tough year, trying a lot of different things. He's got new people. We see Lake there.
Back out to 12th position now, 137.4 at the bottom.
5,500s off the pace. He's only 100th behind Kibermanis, 500ths behind Zakharov, the Russian, and he's 1,500ths behind his teammate.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight battle towards the bottom of the top 10. By the time we've had another couple of sleds down, it might be getting closer towards the middle of the top 20.
There's a lot of steering and tapping the wall right there. 63.7 could have been 63.9. And then now watch the back end here. Look at the push bar come out. Again, he just broke the old track record too. This is at a 13-14. Boy, a lot of violence down there in those labyrinths.
12 sleds down, all of them comfortably inside the old track record. This is a lightning fast day in Winterberg, and speeds that these guys are very unfamiliar with on this track. 20-year-old Benny Meyer now from Austria. In the Austrian army, comes from Rum. His dad is the coach of the team. Brother Raphael sliding in the men's skeleton team for Austria. First World Championship appearance for this young man, just 20 years old. Two 20-year-olds in the field.
The lowest velocity start yet, 63.3. You know, one thing is to have a start time, but then there's that second barometer we use, that velocity. Velocity usually slips in the sled. And, you know, in a two-man's one thing, four-man, there's a tremendous cohesion of getting in that sled, sitting down with cat-like movements.
Not a bad-looking run so far. Comes from Eagles in Austria, where next year's World Championships will be, where you have to be quiet with the steering.
You have to have a great start. He's only 20 years old. He's had a great year. 3 top 10 finishes. 137 threes, not too bad.
13th place for him, 54.37.
That's about right. That's
inside the track record.
Joseph Hoffman on the left, longtime German who's been coaching Russians, Austrians, Germans, Swiss. He's been around.
Well, from Holcomb in 9th down to Benny Meyer in 13th, there is 1700ths of a second.
Watch the driver here. Looks like his foot gets caught up. Watch the number 2 guy getting in. Look at Benny Meyer. He's struggling to get his feet down. Look. Second guy, he almost slips there. Whoa! Look at the high-speed motion, shows us something that we didn't see with the naked. Whoa! That's why they had 63.3 kilometer velocity.
Wow, he did well to get in the sled. That nearly left him behind, and they would have been excluded before the run had even started.
We still got a lot of sleds left. And someone's going to make a mistake up there in that start time.
Wow, talk about choreography on ice. It has to be perfect, not twice, but 4 times in the World Championships. 27-year-old Russian Alexei Stulnev next, another first-timer in the World Championships. Best 4-man result for him, 8th place in the last race in Sochi. Race in Russia, Sochi, Stulnev, the third of the Russian drivers, was in fact the best placed of the 3.
63.7, very good. Very good velocity. 4th best start time, 5:08. He's got a chance here. I think the track's still got some time left. If he keeps that to 22 with the next clock, he's got a chance to get the top 5.
With a huge getaway like that, he definitely needs to be driving well.
Yeah, that pressure in curve 4-5. There's 2400 speed. Not bad, but he wavered going into the Kreisel. That's going to settle back a little bit.
To be among the front runners, you really needed 98 there. You need 104 kilometers an hour here. He's very close.
This looks like top 6.
He slipped away to 9th place on the splits at the moment, but if he can find speed, and he doesn't in the bottom corner,
he's going to fall way back.
He'll be maybe 10th spot. 10th it is.
You know, he made those mistakes up top, and you know, you just can't gain it. You have to be perfect up there. You know, when he had a start time, 4th best start. Surprised he's getting that good a start. Kasanoff in front of him has got the 10th best start. So
they really ripped it off the top, and still from Holcomb down to now 14th place. There's 1700ths of a second.
Look at there's some guys that are pretty high. That's like the 2 and 3 guy. This
Doesn't
is
help
not a
that
full.
he's so
Watch him get way up. And come look at that. You know, he skids across and taps before he gets to 5. Now he comes in the middle of the curve, more steering, friction, and that's what happened to a lot of his time.
Well, Russia's Alexis Stulnev lying in 10th place. Simone Batato had to pull out of the 2-man race last weekend with sciatic nerve problems that were causing him so much trouble. He's had a week more treatment to go in the 4-man race. His best 4-man result, 15th in the world. Last time out in San Francisco, he was only in 18th place. And incidentally, the guys at 2 and 3, Simone Fontana and Konstantina Ugi, they were the 2-man team that raced last weekend.
That's Simone in the twilight of his career. Another Stampfer sled. Stampfer used to coach the Austrian team last year. He's now coaching the Swiss. And the Swiss are driving an Austrian sled, or a Stampfer sled. So are the Italians.
63.2, not bad start velocity, but a 5:21 getaway is going to leave them struggling to get near the top 10.
Good, pretty good aerodynamic profile, but able to bounce it around a little bit back there. Means they are not comfortable in the sled.
Batato's only had 3 4-man races this year, but his best result was 5th place in St. Moritz.
Yeah, he flew in St. Moritz. It was very encouraging for the Italian program for that result. Very experienced driver. Might be the most experienced in the field. Good lines.
Shame that he was unwell during the 2-man race, because that's generally his strongest forte. 136.7 at the bottom, leaves him still in 15th place. So the speed was coming. He was just steering a little too hard to keep the sled under control.
Well, when you have the 15th best start of 15 sleds, it's probably going to leave you in 15th place unless you have some kind of a magical combination of driving and equipment.
That's a very good point.
How's the brakeman here jumping in? Look, now that's not smooth. That's not the way you get in. You get in with a power step, first of all. That was a panic step. You know, the power step is you last launch into the sled and then sit down with cat-like movements. That wasn't very cat-like.
No, he went in like a sack of potatoes. So that was Will, name and shame. Francesco Costa on the back of the sled. Next up for Great Britain, Lamin Dean, the 33-year-old Grenadier Guardsman from Manchester. Ben Simons, Bruce Tasker, and Andy Matthews joined the crew. Their best result, the 4-man, the same team, 5th in Calgary.
Watch their start. These guys should challenge around 5:01, 5:02. They should get down there in the low 5s the way they've been training.
Well, in last World Championships, Great Britain were in 5th place with John Jackson driving the team.
63.8. I'm surprised at that, too. They didn't go to Sochi. They spent 2 weeks training in Berchtesgaden on start and push competitions every day. Very surprised that they didn't do better than that.
Top 5 times during training runs, but training and racing are very different. There's less pressure in training.
Holcomb led training 2 days in a row, and he's back at 90.
97.7 is good speed. That's very good speed from George, the 4-man.
Gap there, 18. This is
104's 104.2. That's great speed. Lamin Dean producing perhaps the drive of his career at the moment.
Really late.
Hold it together, he could be in the top 10. They were in 5th spot, now drifting out, could be 9th place, 8th place at the line. Now that is a good first run. That's what you need to get confidence under your belt. His previous World Championship in Samoritz, 23rd place. Now he's driving a sled with so much more speed, and he's disappointed with that because he knows errors crept in.
Well, it's the fastest he's ever been down this track, and you know, driver error creeps in when you can't practice for record speed, and he flew. I really thought they'd be better at the start. Now watch these angles. Late. Now watch the back end of the sled coming up here. That was good there. But boy, that curve 10 to 11 combination, Bruce Tasker.
Yep, I'm sure he'll be driving in World Cup next year. Oscars Melbardis, Max Arndt, Nico Walter, Francesco Friedrich, your leading group. One Latvian holding off a German trio. Jan Verber of the Czech Republic, start draw number 17 for the 33-year-old driver, former 400-meter sprinter. 2 top 10 finishes in 4-man this year, Samoritz and La Plagne, and he was 12th in Samoritz in the world's last time out 2 seasons ago. They got a newer sled than the last time they raced in the Worlds. This Singer sled is new to them.
63.8 with that 5:10 start, not bad. 3/10 better than most. 15, if he keeps it 25 hundredths, next to Kreisel. Ooh, but he's not going to do lines like that. Skid there, too. 23 hundredths, not bad.
97.1, about where we expect to see him. Verber, this is a neat-looking run. He's got great talent in a 4-man sled.
Much better, much more accomplished forward. Ooh, violent.
You said it, didn't you?
Yeah, jinxed it. 52 hundredths off the pace, but boy, is that close. He's within 12 hundredths of 9th, of 10th.
Well, from Stephen Holcomb in 10th place now, down to Benny Meyer, 17 hundredths of a second, covers 10th to 16th inclusively, and that gap is getting packed with more and more sleds. Jan Verber, 13th. He's 2 hundredths off 12th. He's 12 hundredths off 10th.
Also in Lamandine's defense, he's the 14th, 15th guy off the track, so track might not be giving up the same times as the top guys.
Yeah, and he's only a 10th out of 5th position.
Look at the air.
9 hundredths out of 5th.
Boy, he had to work that 4-man from 13 to 14 there.
There's an awful lot of weight in these 4-man sleds, and a warm day means the track will deteriorate. Next up, Cody Basque, best result in the World Championships in Samoritz, 30th place. 20-year-old from Whitehall, New York. His best season result, 9th place in the season opener in Lake Placid. Look at his helmet at the front where the USA lettering is, the clear sign of a number of crashes during the season.
They've changed helmets a couple times, too. Had to. Ooh, boy, the 17th best start, 21 hundredths off the top. Boy.
Well, now, often this crew is the fastest starting of the 3 US crews, but that has changed today, that's for certain.
He's had a real good year for a young 20-year-old. 21 in July, I think, something like that, but learned a lot, that's for sure.
Came to his first World Championships in Samoritz at the age of 18. He was a brakeman on the 4-man sleds. He'd already started his driving career at that stage. He'd been 10 years driving bobsleighs.
He wasn't the youngest American ever to compete in Samoritz. Billy Fisk was 16 years old when he won the Olympic gold medal in 1928.
He was your classic overachiever, Billy Fisk was in so many ways. 54.60, there's Lauren Gibbs at the top of the track.
Now we've got to start thinking about the people who are going to qualify for that top 20.
And that's not going to be easy.
No,
28 sleds, so we're going to send nearly a third of all the sleds home.
There's a lot of sleds here that could come and catch that.
Listen, if you're in the top 20 overnight, that gives you a little bit of confidence. If you're outside, the third run might smack a little of desperation.
Here we are in the Kreisel. He's above those blue dots, those lines that you try and straddle. And boy, here's the speeds. Look at that. Nico Walter was flying. Look at this. 1.5 kilometers down Basque is. And that, boy, is a sentence of a bad time at the bottom when you're that far behind at the exit of Kreisel. Because up top of the track, it's so slow. It's so slow. Of course, that's relative to his start time.
Loic Kosdeg of France, best of 24th in the World Championships previously. That was in Saint-Moritz, his only appearance. He's only done 3 four-man races this season as France struggles to rebuild its bobsledding program.
Well, their coach, Bruno Major. Quickly, they're in the sled. Still 19th best start. A little skid on a curve 0. Four-man seemed to get around that curve 0 a little easier than the two-man, and the women's bobs did. We're calling that the hassle curve.
There's a lot more weight to be pushed offline, and as a result, they kind of ride up it and don't get into the skid afterwards.
There's still skids up there, like we saw the two-mans.
Transition 3 and over the brow, uphill it through 4 is really difficult. Even a four-man sled goes light. 16.2 miles
Big hit
an hour.
there. Watch out here, 9. He's late in here in the curve 9. See where he is down here, 10 to 11.
He's got it back under control. And not enough. That rubs off so much speed and scares the bejesus out of the crew.
Out of us. Look at Bruno Major, Max Robert on the left. They're the Olympic medalists from 1998 Nagano and four-man. They also won the World Championships the next year in Cortina d'Ampezzo. And that run right there, he was late. 8 to 9, he made his mistake. Late on 9, late on 10, and then all of a sudden down here 11, 12, and 13, he was in a position he shouldn't be on the exit of a curve.
That was in the lap of the gods, whether they came down on their runners or their heads.
Look at that, look at that. That's
hauling it off.
Pictures. Boy, it's nice to sit here. Look at the coaches look. That's what we felt like too, Bruno. Max, we were the same.
That was close. Well, close call for Loic Kosdeg. Next up, history in the making. For Canada, Kaylee Humphries drives in the four-man race. The first woman to compete in the four-man World Championship. She's got Dan Dale, Joey Nemeth, and Josh Kirkpatrick behind her. The double Olympic champions, best result in four-man in this, her debut season. 14th in the last race in Sochi. Well, her target will be to make the top 20.
20th person down, should have anything in the 18th start and the 20th best start. Speed 63 flat, 62.7. They've been working really hard on their aerodynamic positions. Kelly with that perfect aerodynamic profile. 8/10 down, very clean. And again, every person that's come down this track come down faster than they've ever come down the track before. So everybody's had their hands full, especially down here at 11, 12, and 13. Kelly, it's pretty good.
She certainly knows how to drive this track. Of course, she raced in the women's race last weekend and in the team's competition. 20th place at the moment on a 55.01, and that's less than half a second outside the old track record. And at most races in Winterberg, that would be about a top 10 run. But in the condition the track is in today, she finds herself in 20th place. She may not end the first heat in 20th.
Well, it's all about start, velocity, and good cohesion here. Look at the team getting in, getting down. Watch the arms come up. Is it in cohesion? I mean, they got a great start facility out there in Calgary. Look at the arms. Right elbow of number 2. He can't get that in cleanly. It doesn't sound like much, but 100th of a second up top is 300ths down below. And the top 3 sleds are separated by 300ths. There's into the finish. And Kaylee just did what everybody else did.
Well, none of the guys behind her have competed in the World Cup before. Kaylee Humphries rounds out the top 20. Oskars Melbardis at the top of the pile in Winterberg. 21st of our starters is Germany's junior world champion. The rule is that the junior world champion gets a free spot, a wild card entry into the Worlds, which is why there is now a fourth German sled, Christoph Hafer. First time in front of the TV cameras.
Well, when they came in for their headshots of the day, I'm not a small guy, but I had 3 Germans standing around me that were all 6'3", 6'4", and I felt like the sun had been blocked out. I was like, look at the size of these 3 guys. Now, the brakeman on the back, he's the smallest one, Jacob Killian Tranklin, and he's a decathlete. But young German champion and the junior champion junior world champion in women's skeleton. Well, she came out and won the silver medal today in the women's skeleton earlier today. So that junior championship wild card speaks volumes, but getting an extra sled in the field.
19th to start, he's up to 17th place, just half a second back.
Good lines, as you would expect the German on a German track.
He might relax a little into the second run, I think. 137, good speed at the bottom, 17th fastest.
If we get a picture of him, he's 6'4", 6'5", the driver, Christoph Hafer. And I said, what's your former sport? He said, luge. How can you make a sled big enough for the guy?
I think he might have
He's the
outgrown
tallest luge guy I've ever seen. Look how big. These guys are 6'3", both of them. That Radiker is like a NFL linebacker. He's about 240. Get in, get down, not great starts, but, you know, this is the 4th German sled, and these are the 4 kids, the 4 guys that won the junior championship. Look at that. That was pretty weird down there, the way that sled came off the curve early. They can show us the driver. That guy's big. There he is.
There he is.
He's 6'3". That's not a luge guy.
Well, he might have been when he was 12. I think he outgrew it pretty fast. Next up from Korea, Yoon Jung-won, first season in Europe, so first race on this track. They have trained here before, though. His best world championship result, 17th place, 3 years ago in Lake Placid.
He's had a great season.
His best results came in North America, 13th in Calgary, the high spot, but that was the last of tracks he actually knew before they came to Europe.
Another stomp for sled, look at that. Really in the wrong side of that. That's why he would come out here and bang hard. This is an orange-colored sled, and it used to be in the possession of the Dutch. Orange, Dutch, goes together, doesn't it? Look at that. Look at the number 2 and 3 guy. Is that the 1 6'9" guy that got on the sled? Look, you can see he's 6'9", and he's riding the sled. That's the highest man you see. You see the bouncing around. They haven't got the aerodynamics, the riding, the 4-man figured out yet. They got the 2-man figured out. And the Koreans, they got a pretty good program going into their home Olympics in 2018. Through here. Wait, watch out. Oh, we got through. Great.
1:35.7. He's going to drop to the tail of the field. 22nd run. No, just in front of Kaylee Humphries. So 21st position.
Hey, they're just buying their time. Very well organized, very well coached, very meticulous in the way they've approached the sport. They've got a skeleton athlete that's up there winning medals. These guys are in the top 10 in 2-man. The Koreans have taken a very, very meticulous approach to the sport of bobsledding, and they will be successful at the 2018 Winter Olympic Games in their home country. Great. Boy, came on the wrong side of that curve 1 and down here in the exit Kreisel.
He's had a week training here, and then this week racing here.
Look at all the helmets and everything behind. You shouldn't be seeing that, but the coach, they know that. They're just buying time here. Well, he's had a great season right there.
Getting experience of the tracks. Next up for Romania is 29-year-old Dorin Gagore from Bucharest. Best of 13th in the World Cup this year. That was in Calgary. And best of 17th in the World Championships. That was his first in Lake Placid in 2012.
Big old Dresden sled right here. Ooh, big skid. 63.3. Not bad velocity for the start and the skid. They're only 0.2 of a kilometer down, like for example to Holcomb. They had a 1,300 or 800 slower start than Holcomb. 0.6 down already. A little skid. 7 to 8. So much with so little, these Romanians. watch out. Late 9. He's adjusted to 10. He's going to be late here. But steered pretty good. Almost 7. He's right about Kelly Humphreys, about 125 out. 26.
So 500s behind Kaylee Humphreys, 23rd place for him, 22nd for her. Romanians participate in every discipline here, 2-man and 4-man, women's bobsleigh, men and women's skeleton, and they were in the team race as well. They certainly embrace the sport in all its facets.
Exit of curve 9. A little shaky in that ice channel here. Watch it. Watch the sled go in a little bit of a skid. And when that skid, you know, 80 miles an hour, should be on the right side of the screen, not the left. So easy to sit here and criticize.
He will go back up to the top, get ready for the second run and try and eradicate a couple of those errors. Meanwhile, at the top of the track, ready for his first start, is 31-year-old Serb Vuk Radijanovic. That's the 24th in the World Championships. He was 28th last time in Samaritz in Switzerland. He's only done 3 races in the 4-man this season. Sochi in Russia, he finished 12th. That was his best result.
And the guy in the back, Alexander Nadalo, he's 6'9". Basketball player, you think, Serbia? I told this story before. Nope, long jumper. Ooh, sled comes up. Another stomp for sled. There's 4 stomp for sleds, at least in the field. And he's got a lot of skid going there, Vuk. 62.5, the worst velocity. Not bad setup. The ball sitting in the back behind the driver, especially the 6'9". God, I mean, he's got to get buried in there.
They're just ahead of the Romanians at the moment. Needs to keep it neat and tidy down the run. 102.8, that's quicker than Don Gregorio of Romania as well, so he's going to accelerate by him. And he may well overhaul Kaylee Humphreys at the line. Looks like he's going to squirrely through the final corners, though.
Yeah, very squirrely now. He lost. He did beat Kaylee, but at 500s.
So Sarah Levencic, the Slovenian skeleton slider, helping with the filming there.
A little Balkan relationship there.
So Vuk, one of only 2 drivers in the field using goggles.
9, curve 9 is a pivotal part of the track. Sets you up for the bottom for 10, 11, 12, and 13. And if you don't hit 9 right, this is what happens. Bang, you're down there in about 13 to 14. Watch the spray come up. Now watch the back end of the sled, airborne. Now watch him go into the uphill finish curve. And he's going to have to drive more to get on the curve properly.
I'm right up the corner there when you get in late.
Beautiful day here.
It is really turning into a spectacular day.
Too bad with some of the sunshades down, but the crowd is large.
Too bad we're stuck in a little hot box. Next up is Lucas Schnitzer for Italy, 27th in Samaritz, his previous World Championship appearance. Only 1 4-man race this season, though. He finished in 19th place in Koenigsegg.
3,200s back at the start. 62.8. Not bad velocity at the start. And if he points it straight, number 2 guy looks like he's a little out of position. You see him head wave a little bit on the exit of the curve. Ooh, big skid there. Now look up. That skid up 6-7 cost him all the way into the Kreisel. That was just too. It's hard to get these 4-man sleds in a skid, but when you get them in a skid, they go their own direction. And he better watch out down here. This is the fastest he's ever been down this track. Oh, he steered hard there. Watch out, boy. No one's been more airborne in that curve than this Italian sled right here. He still came down the track 55.09. He's probably 56.50 in practice. You come down a second faster, you've never been down before at 85 miles an hour.
Things happen a whole heck of a lot differently.
It's a little different.
don't they just?
Can't practice for record speed.
The corners come at you faster, the sled reacts differently, the runners don't have the grip they would have had, especially on a warm day with no frost. I'm sure the refrigeration unit is working overtime at the moment to keep the ice hard for all these athletes, because we now go with the top 20 in reverse order.
This is in the Kreisel. He made his mistake 6-7, and all of a sudden he got burned on the take on the Kreisel. That's one area of concern, but watch this. He got through here 13-14 in the bottom. That wasn't too bad. It was right here. This wasn't too bad. It was up 10-11-12 where he was, ooh, he was.
Still, when he hit the wall there, the take on, he's bounced up in the air. That's 690 kilos. Oscar Melbardis, the leader of a tight battle in this four-man World Championships. Next up and fast away from the start is 25-year-old Radek Matusek from the Czech Republic, the second of the Czech sliders. Skids all the way from 0 down to turn 1. First World Championships for him. He's not raced a four-man in the World Cup either.
Not bad in the two-man. First time we've ever saw him. And we saw maybe an Eagles in one of the World Cups, but on the Europa Cup Tour. Decent line so far.
5:23 was a decent start as well at this end of the field.
Speed, not bad. Aerodynamic profile. Ooh, some people leaning out to the side there. Ooh, he's late here and in the skid, so we're going to have some action right here.
Good speed as well. 103.5, 64.5 miles an hour.
Been pretty good. This isn't bad at all.
This is going to put him into the top 20 as he rolls it off the corner in 20th place.
But he finishes. This shouldn't affect him. Shouldn't affect these guys. But watch the crew. Watch how fast the track crew comes in here. Ooh, well, that hurt. That hurt that brakeman right there. They should grab him. I'm worried about the brakeman there. That opening, look, he's turned around on the sled. Oh, man. The brakeman got out, tried to get out right where that opening was, and he took a pretty good hit. If he would have just stayed in the sled, stay in the sled, totally intact. Don't come and rescue you. The sled acts like a cocoon.
As long as you can hold yourself in, and when you're upside down, it's not that easy. Well, they are all out, and looks
it's a pretty good time.
Okay.
Where is he?
He's 20th.
Yeah.
He was in 19th place and then just lost it in the final corner, rolled over the line in 20th place. All the boys look to be okay. They'll be sore and stiff.
I just worry about the brakeman's hit, though.
Yeah, they're all smiling and they look pretty okay.
This isn't bad. I mean,
here we go. Climbs at the end of the corner.
Watch the crowd get out of the way. Look at the crowd. Hello.
The sled's coming by them on their heads before they realize what's happening. That's what happens when it comes out the dark at 80 miles an hour.
That's a pretty good hit on the driver, too. So go inspect him.
Make
then
sure
into the finish, they show us that again.
Well, he's in the top 20, boy, and that's where you want to be after your first heat. Maybe not on your head. A little delay while they check the track, make sure no big bits of ice are being knocked out, but it was right by the finish ice, so...
Look at the crowds.
I'll check that out. There's not room to swing a cat in there. So you have to host the National Cat Swinging Champion somewhere else. It's been a very busy, I mean, weather's been wonderful. The week has just got better and better. There's the Polish crew of Maciej Luty.
They cleared the track.
Yep.
They're out.
Bringing them back out into the cold. That's worth bearing in mind. You know, they're not even in their skimpies. They're in the thinnest Lycra suit. It is hovering around 0, and there's no sun there to keep you warm like there is down in the Kreisel. So up at the top, the wind whistles through that start house. It's pretty bitter. Temperatures at the start normally somewhere around 5 degrees colder than the actual air temperature, just from the wind and the lack of sunshine. So our 27th starter then is 25-year-old Maciej Luty of Poland. His first World Championship appearance. And he had 3 starts in four-man in the World Cup this season. Did not make the top 20 cut in any of them. Have to wait and see what he can produce. Just seen rookie Radek Matusek of the Czech Republic roll his way into the top 20. Katie Humphries, incidentally, down in 24th place at the moment.
Wasn't the first rollover in the finish we've seen. We saw Elizabeth Vachi of Canada, the women's skeleton, go right on her back across the finish line and finish with a bronze medal in the World Championships. What a way to finish.
Seen Bear Hefty twice win a two-man race here by rolling off the final corner, just not steering at the end of it to keep the speed alive.
Okay, see what our Polish friends can do.
Luti raced in the two-man race as well. The man at 2, Krzysztof Tolkowski, was behind him then. Gets in.
Look at the sled problems, real problems.
All over the place.
Yeah, push bar in finally, but still the speed, 62.5. That's, you know, that skid was worth at least 0.3 of a kilometer. He's sentenced to at least a second 2,500s back. Now he's really late there. He got sucked up into curve 3 by being too late on the wrong side of the straightaway going in. You can't make those mistakes on this track where the speeds are slow up top.
95.8 kilometers an hour, the lowest velocity we've seen at that point.
Back if he keeps up at this pace.
102, that is definitely the lowest we've seen.
That's a quick, boy, very smooth line through there. He got through there as good as anybody. 148, I said 140.
Yeah, they've also had the second slowest start, so
well,
you lose
second slowest start,
it multiplies all the way down the track.
And a big start mistake.
27th place for Matthias Luthi.
Okay, let's watch this choreography on ice. Okay, get in, sit down, like cat-like movement. And now what's happening? Now the drivers, look at his hands come down. Now he's looking for the D-rings to steer. Now look at the sled going right already on us. Look at the angle it's on. And now there's a little skid. Now they're worried about hitting the wall. So the driver's got to steer away from the wall. And that causes the skid around the first curve. And the rest reflects why he's in 27th place.
Lose speed as soon as he sat down.
Yeah, somebody's hurt.
Yeah, looks like he might have pulled a hamstring.
Yeah, well, that's common in this sport. Not in these temperatures, though.
Last of our 28 sliders in the field is the Dutchman Juriaan Wesselink. First World Championships for him. Again, 3 four-man races in the World Cup this season. Didn't break the top 20. Got close. 21st spot in one of them. Coached by Edwin van Kalker in the background.
A lot of Dutch on hand. Dutch home tracks and the Dutch Alps. Pretty
nice straight run at the start. 5:39 though. That's the 28th getaway.
62.9, better than the most of the bad start. I say better starts. Profiles, watch the head slap, come on off curves. Really a lot of movement, number 3 guy. He's not comfortable. He's comfortable, his head's not going back and forth on the exits of these curves. If he's moving around there like that, it's loss of energy, loss of time.
28 spot the line, he's chasing Matthias Luthi of Poland and Lukas Schnitzer of Italy. 27th, he's in front of Luthi at the line by 0.06 of a second. Mikhail Cerizet back with the team, helping with the coaching along with Edwin van Kalker. The Dutch rebuilding their program from the ground up. Van Kalker retired in December after his last ever race, and I think that was here in Winterberg. Europa Cup encounter, Juriaan Wesselink stepping into the breach with very little experience.
Look at the heads here. Do we see them? We see the number? No, not there. We don't.
Well, they are full of spirit, as everyone else in the field is, just lacking in experience of bobsledding, full stop. Man at the top of the pile is the man that most expected to lead the field here in Winterberg. He's the man who dominated in 2-man and 4-man in the World Cup throughout the season, and he leads this World Championship 4-man race by 300s, tied behind him. Max Arndt, the world champion, and Nico Walter, the young German sensation, with double two-man world champion Francesco Friedrich lying in fourth. 1800ths of a second cover the top four, 2/10 the top six. Look how close that is. Chris Spring in seventh, Lamindina, Great Britain in eighth place, ahead of Justin Cripps and Stephen Holcomb, the two-time world champion and four-man Olympic champion as well. So a fantastically tight race at the top, and behind, look at this, from Nikita Zaharov, 6 sleds, covered by 700 of a second. There's going to be a lot of changes there. Radek Matusek is in the top 20 after one of the 4 heats, and those behind will have to try and unseat him to get their place in the top 20 overnight. That will allow them to sleep easier. First heat done of 4. The second heat comes up here in Winterberg, Germany at 2:50. Join us for that in just under 30 minutes.